I sat across from a mortgage officer in a glass-walled office at the bank and watched her face change the way a sky changes before a storm. She'd been smiling. She'd been typing. She'd been walking me through interest rates and down payment calculations with the warm efficiency of a woman helping another woman buy her first home. Then she pulled my credit report, and the warmth left the room. "Ms. Sinclair, there's an issue with your credit." "What kind of issue?" "You have an open credit account with a balance of $23,000 in collections. A Visa card opened 14 months ago. The account is severely delinquent. No payments have been made in 9 months." "I don't have a Visa card." "The account is in your name. Your social security number. Your address." "I did not open that account." She turned the monitor toward me. There it was. A credit card I'd never applied for, with a limit of $25,000, nearly maxed out, opened using my full legal name, my social security number, and the address I'd lived at for 3 years. Someone had become me on paper and spent $23,000 and then stopped paying and let the debt rot on my credit like a carcass in a field. My credit score had dropped from 742 to 519. The mortgage was dead. The house I'd found, the first home I'd ever tried to buy, the 2-bedroom with the yellow door and the garden in the back that I'd already imagined planting tomatoes in, was gone. Not because of anything I'd done, because someone had stolen my identity and built a debt in my name, and I was the one left standing in a bank office watching my future collapse on a monitor. My name is Noelle, and the person who did this was my best friend. Her name was Tessa. We'd been friends since college, roommates sophomore year, bridesmaids at each other's non-existent weddings because neither of us had married yet, and the running joke was that whoever got married first owed the other a speech that would make the whole room cry. She was the person I called when I got the promotion, the person I texted when I had a bad date, the person I trusted with the kind of personal information you share with someone who sleeps 6 feet from you in a dorm room and borrows your shampoo and knows the sound of your crying at 2 a.m. She knew my social security number. She'd needed it once, years ago, when we'd applied for an apartment together, and the landlord required both applicants' information. I'd texted it to her, a 9-digit number in a text message that I never deleted because I didn't think I needed to. Because she was Tessa. Because trust is the currency of friendship and I'd been spending it freely for 12 years. I didn't know it was Tessa immediately. I knew it was someone who had my social security number, my full name, and my address. The list of people with all three was short. My mother, my employer, and Tessa. I filed a fraud report with the credit card company. I filed an identity theft report with the FTC. I filed a police report. I froze my credit. I did every step on the list that the internet provides for identity theft victims. The list that reads like a manual for rebuilding something that someone else demolished while you were asleep. Detective Harmon was assigned to my case. She was patient, thorough, and had the tired familiarity of someone who investigated identity theft regularly and had stopped being surprised by who the perpetrator turned out to be. In most cases, she told me, identity theft is committed by someone the victim knows. Family members, partners, close friends, people who have access to personal information because the victim trusted them. My best friend had my social security number. I'd start there. The investigation took 3 weeks. Detective Harmon subpoenaed the credit card application records. The card had been opened online using my personal information. The IP address traced to a location that wasn't my home. It was Tessa's apartment. The mailing address for the card was a P.O. box registered under a name I didn't recognize, but that turned out to be Tessa's middle name and her mother's maiden name. She'd created a diversion address so the card would never arrive at my home. The statements were electronic, sent to an email address I'd never seen. She'd built an entire financial identity inside mine, complete with a separate mailing address and a hidden email, with the methodical care of someone who planned to use it for a long time. The charges told the story of Tessa's life for the past 14 months. Rent payments when she'd lost her job at the marketing firm. a used car purchase when her old one died, groceries, gas, a storage unit. And then, as the balance climbed and the minimum payments stopped, the charges became more desperate. Cash advances at ATM's balance transfer fees. Late-night online purchases that looked like the spending of someone who'd stopped caring about the debt because it wasn't their name on the line. It was my name, my credit, my 742 that she'd driven to 519. I didn't call Tessa. Detective Harmon advised against it. Let the investigation proceed. If she knows you're aware, she may destroy evidence. Tessa was arrested at her apartment on a Thursday morning. I wasn't there. I didn't want to be. Detective Harmon called me afterward and said, "She cried. She said she was going to pay it back." They all say that. Every person who steals from someone they love says they were going to pay it back. It's the universal lie of intimate theft. The promise of a future repayment that was never planned, never budgeted, never real. A sentence designed to make the stealing feel temporary when it was always permanent. Tessa was charged with identity theft and credit card fraud, both felonies. She was released on bail, and her lawyer called my lawyer and said his client wanted to resolve this amicably. My lawyer said, "Your client committed a felony using my client's social security number. The time for amicable was 14 months ago." Tessa called me. Against her lawyer's advice, against Detective Harmon's instructions, she called me on a Sunday evening with a voice that sounded like the Tessa I knew but smaller. Compressed. The voice of a woman who'd been caught inside a decision she'd made 14 months ago and couldn't find the door out. "Noelle, please let me explain." "I'm listening." "I lost my job. I couldn't make rent. I was going to be evicted. I applied for cards in my own name and got denied because my credit was already destroyed, and I panicked. I had your social security number in a text message, and I told myself I'd open one card, use it for rent, and pay it off before you ever knew. One card became $23,000. It escalated. The car broke down, and I needed transportation for job interviews. Then the minimum payments started, and I couldn't cover them, and the balance kept growing, and I was drowning, and I couldn't tell you because telling you meant losing you. You lost me when you entered my social security number into an application." "I know." "You lost my mortgage, Tessa. I was buying a house. A 2-bedroom with a yellow door, my first home. And I sat in a bank office and watched my credit score flash on a screen, and the mortgage officer's face changed because my best friend had turned my identity into a $23,000 debt. I'll pay it back." "With what?" "You don't have a job. You couldn't make your rent. That's why you stole from me. I'll get a job. I'll make payments." "You'll make payments through a court-ordered restitution plan because I'm not dropping the charges." Silence. Then quietly, "I understand." "Do you? Because I need you to understand something specific. You didn't just take money. You took 12 years of friendship and you set it on fire. Every memory we have is contaminated now. Every sleepover, every road trip, every late-night conversation where I told you things I don't tell anyone. All of it is sitting under the weight of the fact that while I was trusting you, you were calculating how to use my identity." "I wasn't calculating. I was desperate." "Desperate people ask for help. They don't steal identities." Tessa pled guilty to 1 count of identity theft. The fraud charge was dropped as part of the plea. She was sentenced to 3 years probation, restitution of the full $23,000, and 200 hours of community service. She was also required to attend financial counseling. The restitution payments are court-ordered at $200 a month. At that rate, repayment takes 9.5 years. The credit card company absorbed the remaining balance after the identity theft was confirmed, which meant my credit report was corrected. But the correction takes time. The collections account was removed, but the credit score rebuilding process is measured in months and years, not days. My credit is back to 680 now, not 742. Not yet. The mortgage officer at the bank said I could reapply in 6 to 8 months if the trajectory continues. The house with the yellow door sold to someone else in March. I don't drive past it anymore. I've started looking at other houses. There's a 2-bedroom across town with a red door and a porch that faces west. It doesn't have a garden yet, but the yard is big enough for one. I'll plant tomatoes if I get it. And a fence. Not for security, for the boundary. The physical reminder that what's inside is mine and nobody crosses it without permission. Our mutual friends took sides the way mutual friends always do in a fracture. Some understood. Some said I was harsh for pressing charges against a friend. One of them, Danielle, said, "She was desperate, Noelle. Haven't you ever been desperate?" I've been desperate. I've never stolen someone's identity. She made a mistake. She made 14 months of mistakes, each one a choice, each one a felony, and each one committed against the person she called her best friend. Danielle didn't bring it up again. I don't think about Tessa every day, but I think about the text message, the one with my social security number that I sent her from a dorm room 12 years ago. 9 digits in a green bubble that traveled from my phone to hers and lived in her messages for over a decade, waiting. Not maliciously, not strategically, just existing. The way a key exists in a drawer until someone decides to use it on a door it was never meant to open. I deleted the text. I changed my social security monitoring. I froze my credit. I do all the things the list says to do after someone steals your identity. But there's no list for what to do after someone steals your trust. That repair manual doesn't exist. You just build a new door, and you're more careful about who gets the key. Have you ever been betrayed by someone who had your most personal information? Did they use it against you? And did the friendship survive? Tell me in the comments. If this one made you want to check your credit report, hit that like button and subscribe. I'll be back with another one soon. And to anyone who's ever texted a social security number to someone they trusted, delete it. Delete it right now. Because the people we trust the most are the people who can hurt us the worst, not because they're evil, because they're close enough to reach.